Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hasham Ali Khan. Now I'm going to start the problems on cash flow statement. In the last two videos, I have completely explained about the meaning of cash flow statement, importance of cash flow statement, differences between funds flow and cash flow statement, and what are the provisions regarding preparation of cash flow statement according to AS3. Accounting Standard 3 issued by ICAI. Then different terms I have explained regarding the meaning of cash equivalent, then operating activity, investing activity, financing activity with examples. In one video I have completely explained. In the second video I have given the format of preparing cash flow statement. Then I have explained you each and every item, how to find out the cash flow from operating activities, cash flow from investing activity, and cash flow from financing activity. All these things I have explained in the last two videos. So if you have watched those two videos, definitely you can easily understand the problems. Otherwise, directly if you join, you may not be able to understand. Because I told you the theory which I have explained is the foundation for all the problems. So if you have not watched the earlier videos, I suggest you to go to the playlist of my channel. Select the subject, financial statement analysis. Select the topic, cash flow statement. Watch the first two videos, be acquainted with the complete procedure and come to this video. Definitely you can learn a lot from these videos. Apart from that, if you are new to my channel, I suggest you to go to the playlist of my channel. I've uploaded so many videos on different subjects like financial accounting, advanced accounting, cost accounting, corporate accounting, advanced corporate accounting, managerial accounting, income tax, then business statistics, financial management, investment management. So many videos I have uploaded. You just select your subject, select the video, watch the video till the end. Definitely you can enjoy the learning process. You can enjoy acquiring the knowledge, acquiring the confidence, power. So now I'm going to start the problems. First problem I'm going to solve. Short problems. Starting few short problems will do, then we'll come to the main problem. But before starting the problem, I expect my viewers to have a printout of the problems which I have given in the link under my description. So before watching these problems, always have a printout on hand. Then only you can be able to understand it properly. Now first problem I am reading out. Calculate cash from operating activities. In the last video I have explained you there are two methods suggested by AS3 for calculating cash from operating activities. Cash flow from operating, two methods. The first method, direct method. Second method, indirect method. The direct method states that we have to find out how much is the cash inflows from operating activity. From that we deduct the cash outflows from the operating activities. So normally inflows will be from sale of goods. From sales there will be cash inflows. On purchases and other payments there will be cash outflows. So we should know how we can be able to calculate cash inflows, cash outflows. That's what we are going to do in this short problems. The first problem, it is asking you to calculate cash flow from operating activity. What information is given? Purchases are given. On account of purchases, there will be cash outflow. Sales. On account of sales, there will be cash inflows. Then expenses. Expenses also means cash outflows. Then creditors at the beginning of the year, creditors at the end of the year. See here, the terms creditors are used, sales are used, purchases are used. These are the old terms. But according to Schedule 3, the terminology has changed. Instead of saying creditors, it means payable. It means payable. So in sales means revenue from operation. Names have been changed. I am using the old names, but remember you must know what are the new terminology for these terms. Creditors means payable. Sales means revenue from operations. Purchases means purchases for stock. Purchases for stock. Now here creditors at the beginning of the year are given, creditors at the end of the year. At the end of the year, creditors means we have purchased the goods but we have not paid the cash. So end of the creditors we will deduct. will deduct, because there is no payment of cash. We need the net payment of cash to creditors and net amount received from debtors. Amount received. So how to calculate cash flow from operating activities? See here. Calculation of cash from operating activity. First of all, cash receipts from customers. From customers we receive the cash. For what? For sales. For sales. From this we deduct cash paid to suppliers and employees. So two items you have to remember for calculating cash flow from operating activity. How much cash received from customers and how much cash paid to suppliers and employees. These two items only we need. Now, cash received from customers on account of sales. Here in this problem only sales are given, nothing is given. So we assume it as cash sales. There are no credit sales at all because debtors are not given. Receivables are not given. Only sales are given. So we assume the complete sales as cash sales 2 lakh. So cash sales 2 lakh. From this we have to find out cash paid to supplier and employees. Here we need some calculations because creditors are there. Who are creditors? The parties from whom we purchase the goods but we have not paid the amount. The parties from whom we have purchased the goods but we have not paid the amount, they are called creditors. So creditors are there at the beginning of the year and creditors at the end of the year. Now how to find out cash paid to creditors? You remember this procedure. First of all, total purchase 1,50,000. Total purchase are 1,50,000. To this we add creditors at the beginning of the year. That means these are the creditors which are outstanding at the end of last year. Last year outstanding. So current year opening. So we have to pay. Last year's creditors will be paid now. The last year outstanding. The beginning of the year creditors are 30,000. We assume that last year's creditors will be paid during the current year. So add outstanding opening creditors. Opening creditors we have added 30,000. Closing creditors. At the end of the year there are some creditors. Means end of the year there are some parties to whom we have not paid the amount. During the year we have purchased but we have not paid the amount. So these are called closing creditors. They are called closing creditors. Closing creditors will be deducted. So simple procedure. While calculating cash paid to creditors or cash payment to suppliers, simply you remember total purchases plus outstanding creditor at the beginning of the year minus outstanding creditor at the end of the year. So opening added, closing deducted. We'll get cash paid to supplier. Apart from that, some other expenses are also given. Expenses paid 20,000. These expenses are paid for what purpose it is not given. It may be paid to employees. It may be paid to employees in the form of salaries and wages, etc. So we will write down expenses paid for the year 20,000. Add up. The total cash paid to suppliers and employees 1,60,000. It is asking you to calculate cash from operating activity. We want cash receipts from customers and cash paid to employees, cash paid to suppliers and employees. So receipts from customers easily we got it, cash sales given in the problem. But paid to supplier and others, we have to calculate like this. Take the total purchases, add opening creditors minus closing creditors. This will be cash paid to suppliers. Apart from that, other expenses add total amount paid to suppliers and employees. That's all. First problem completed. Now I am coming to the second problem. Calculate cash from operating activities. Exactly similar. Then purchases are given, sales are given, expenses are given, debtors at the beginning of the year and debtors at the end of the year. Here we have to find out how much cash is received from debtors, from customers. Cash is received from customers. Previous problem, creditors were given, but in this problem, debtors are given. Now tell me, who are debtors? Debtors are the parties to whom we sold the goods, but amount is due from them. Amount is due from them. According to new terminology, it is called receivable. The debtors or receivables means one and the same. The parties from whom money is due because we have sold the goods. So in working note, we have to calculate how much is the receipts from customers. So calculation of cash from operating activity, cash received from customers. This is in working note. and cash paid to suppliers and employees, working note number 2. Then cash generated from operations. So first of all, we calculate how much is the cash receipt from customers. To calculate cash receipt from customers, first we take sales. Total sales are given 3 lakh. To this add debtors at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, there were some debtors. We assume that those debtors have paid the amount during the current year. The debtors at the beginning of the year will make the payment during the current year. So we have received the cash for opening debtors. So add debtors at the beginning of the year, 45,000 given in the problem. Add up 3,45,000 minus debtors at the end of the year. These are those debtors to whom we have sold the goods, but we have not received the cash during the year. At the end of the year, outstanding. So opening, beginning of the year debtors will be added, end of the year debtors will be deducted. So we'll get cash receipts from customers. So take 2,85,000 cashes. Just like the creditors. Here creditors, opening creditors we have added, closing creditors we have deducted. Here opening debtors we have added, closing debtors we have deducted. Exactly same. Cash receipts from customers. Now amount paid to suppliers. So we take purchases. Purchase. Here creditors are not given. If creditors were given, we would have done like this. There are no creditors. So only purchase will take, expenses paid will take. Take the total, you will get cash paid to suppliers and employees, 2,65,000. So 285 is the cash receipt from customers, 265 is the cash paid to suppliers and employees, 20,000 is cash generated from operations. That's it. Next, problem number 3. Calculate cash from operating activities, just like the previous problem, but some more new points are given. Now carefully you see the third problem. Total sales 80,000, debtors at the beginning of the year, debtors at the end of the year. You know already 2 problems we have done. Opening debtors will be added, closing debtors will be deducted. So total sales 80,000, add opening debtors 6,000 minus closing debtors 11,000. Then per total purchases, creditors at the beginning of the year, creditors at the end of the year, same thing. Total purchase will take opening creditors added, closing creditors deducted. Exactly same way. Then total operating expenses. Previous problems, expenses directly we have added because there were no adjustment for expenses. But here for expenses also there are some adjustment. What are the adjustment? Outstanding expenses and prepaid expenses. Outstanding and prepaid expenses should be adjusted. Now total operating expenses are 6,000. Prepaid expenses beginning of the year, prepaid expense at the end of the year. Then outstanding expenses at the end of the year. We don't have outstanding beginning. Beginning of the year we don't have. End of the year outstanding expense. But prepaid is there in the beginning as well as end. Now concentrate here which item to be added, which item to be deducted. So cash flow from operating activities, cash receipt from customers, working note number 1. Cash receipt to cash paid to suppliers and employees, working note number 2. So cash generated from operations. So we are going to calculate in working note number 1 and 2 how much cash receipt and how much cash paid. First of all, cash receipts. We are calculating cash receipt from customers. Total sales 80,000. Add opening debtors 6,000 minus closing debtors 11,000. 75,000 is the receipts from customers. Exactly same what we have done in the second one. Opening debtors added, closing debtors deducted. We got cash receipts from customers. Now cash paid to suppliers and employees. Here working note number 2. Total purchases 60,000. To this you have to add opening creditors and minus closing creditors. Opening creditors are added, closing creditors are deducted. So 55,000 rupees is the amount paid to suppliers. Amount paid to suppliers. Now expenses. Total operating expenses are 6,000 given in the problem. Total operating expenses are 6,000. Now from this, first we deduct the outstanding expenses at the end of the year. Closing outstanding expense. Closing outstanding expense. Outstanding expense means expense of the current year but not paid. Expense of the current year but not paid. There is no cash outflow. We want how much is the net cash outflow. How much is the payment in cash? So deduct this closing outstanding expenses 2000, 4000. Now prepaid. Now you have to adjust prepaid, opening as well as closing. First of all, closing prepaid expenses should be added. Closing prepaid expense should be added. Opening prepaid should be deducted. Only one rule, if you remember, enough. Closing prepaid, at the end of the year some advance payment was made, so cash outflow. So add closing prepaid expense 1000 minus opening prepaid expense 2000. So net amount is 3000. Net amount paid is 3000. A is amount paid to suppliers. B amount paid to employees and others. Amount paid to employees and others. Now we need the total amount paid to suppliers and employees. A plus B. So 55,000 plus 3,000. 58,000 rupees is the total amount paid to suppliers and employees. So cash paid to suppliers and employees 58,000. Now deduct 17,000 rupees is the cash generated from operation. So what is the new point in this problem? Expenses adjustment. Regarding adjustment to sales and purchases, already we have done. The expenses you have to remember. From the total operating expense, deduct the outstanding expense at the end of the year. First of all. Now prepaid. Prepaid expense at the end of the year will be added. Prepaid expense at the beginning of the year will be deducted. Remember this rule? That's all. Total expenses. And finished. Now I am coming to the next problem, fourth one. With the following, calculate the cash from operating activities. Total sales 1,60,000, total purchases 1,20,000. Total expenses 12,000. Again, sales, it is a receipt from customers. Purchases, it is the amount paid to suppliers. And expenses, amount paid to employees and others. Now, prepaid expenses are given opening, closing. You know how to deal with prepaid expenses. End of the year, closing prepaid should be added. Opening prepaid should be deducted. Then opening debtors, closing debtors. Opening creditors, closing debtors. Creditors, already you know. The opening debtors will be added, closing debtors will be deducted. Opening creditors will be added, closing creditors will be deducted. Already we have done in the previous one. Then outstanding expenses, only closing is given. So closing outstanding will be deducted. This problem is exactly same as that of the third problem. Only the figures are changed. Now calculation of cash flow from operating activities. Cash receipt from customers, working note number 1. Cash paid to suppliers and employees, working note number 2. Then cash generated from operations. Exactly same procedure what we have done. Working note number 1. We'll calculate how much is the cash receipt from customers. Sales. Total sales, add opening debtors minus closing debtors. Add opening debtors minus closing debtors. Cash receipts from customers. 1,50,000. Now cash paid to suppliers, the purchases. We'll take total purchases plus opening creditors minus closing creditors. So opening creditors added, closing creditors deducted. 1,10,000 is the A amount. This is the amount which is paid to suppliers. Now expenses. Total operating expenses is given 12,000. From this, first we deduct outstanding expenses at the end of the year. Outstanding expenses, closing outstanding expense 4,000, we deduct 8,000 remaining. To this, we add prepaid expense at the end of the year minus prepaid expenses at the beginning of the year. So outstanding, closing prepaid will be added, opening prepaid will be deducted. So payment of expenses are 6,000. Net payment of expenses are 6,000. Now we add up A plus B. A is the amount paid to supplier, B is the amount paid to employees and others. So total 1,16,000. 1,10,000 plus 6,000. 1,16,000. So cash generated from operations are 34,000. All 4 problems are over. Now in these problems I have used the old terms, debtors, creditors. But according to new terminology we have to use receivables and payables. Receivables and payables. I am using interchangeably. But if in the problem if it is saying receivables, means debtors. If it is given payables, it means creditors. That's the point you have to remember. That's all. So we have completed 4 short problems in this video regarding cash flow statement. These are the basic things every student must know. So only cash flow from operating activities we have calculated in these 4 problems. So if you are satisfied with my lecture, give a like to the video. Give your comments on these videos. Share my channel in your group, in your friend circle, so that more students can watch the video and enhance the knowledge. Subscribe my channel if you have not yet subscribed. Inshallah, the next problem will continue in the next video.